Hi everybody, welcome to day 22 of Vlogmas. This is another video that I probably should have scripted, but I felt like it would be more heartfelt if I just went with what is in my gut. So today might be a little bit personal. As you can see by my shirt, my Funko, I'm a Hufflepuff. There's no other house that I would really want to be in. I like badgers, I like loyalty, I like friendship, I like everything that Hufflepuff stands for. So pretty much my whole life, when anybody asked me what Hogwarts house I was in, I would tell them Hufflepuff. Actually, when I went to the Harry Potter tour in Leavesden, there was an employee that was giving a tour of the Great Hall, and they have costumes from different characters from each of the houses throughout the hall. So he was going around the room and he was like, who's a Slytherin? Who's a Gryffindor? Who's a Hufflepuff? And then when he did that, me and my two other friends started screaming because we're very proud Hufflepuffs. However, earlier in my trip to London, I retook the Pottermore quiz. Pottermore told me I was a Ravenclaw. I wasn't really happy with that answer. I kind of freaked out a little bit. I think I took the same quiz on a different website and it told me I was a Gryffindor, and I started freaking out because neither answer was Hufflepuff and I just didn't know what to do with myself. I had a little bit of a Harry Potter identity crisis. So I'm sitting there in London freaking out because none of the tests I'm taking are telling me that I'm a Hufflepuff. Basically, later that day after I had my slight identity crisis, I just came to the conclusion that the sorting hat takes into account what you want. And then I started to think about it more, especially after I left London and I was at home a lot. I had a lot of just time to think about myself, pretty much. I came to this idea that maybe somewhere between 11 and 22, going on 23, my values and my personality shifted. When I was a kid, I was apparently kind of popular. I don't remember that very well. I remember having friends. I don't ever remember being the most popular girl in school or whatever. Not that that really ever mattered to me anyway. But it was very easy for me to make friends and to enjoy being with other people, at least in a social setting, and I wanted to be a good friend to them. So when I was 11, my priorities were really friendship and loyalty and being a hardworking student. I was always jealous of the girl in my class that read every Harry Potter book in a day, in like the 4th grade. My point being that I was never the best student or the fastest reader or anything necessarily remarkable, except for the time when I broke my wrist on the first day of 5th grade, still rode my bike the rest of the way to school, went to do the morning announcements, which I was supposed to be the anchor the first day. I didn't get to do the job because my wrist was broken. And then the next day when I had my cast, I got an award for bravery. So I guess there's my Gryffindor moment of my life. I got an award for bravery because I broke my wrist. Even through middle school and high school, I knew the smartest people at my school. I was never one of them. One of them was an actress. God, I was always jealous of how absolutely good at everything she was, but I also only had this one viewpoint of her because I knew her, but I wasn't like very close to her. And I just kind of sat there and wrote. I wasn't, valedictorian, salutatorian. I wasn't a great actress. I wasn't a great filmmaker. I was just good at writing. Basically, throughout my grade school life, I identified as a Hufflepuff. I was determined to go to school outside of Palm Beach County, and I did, just to push this Hufflepuff, hardworking, unafraid of toil kind of archetype even further. When I was transitioning from elementary school to middle school, I auditioned at an arts middle school, and I was prepared to go to that school without anybody that I knew from middle school. I just wanted to go. I didn't get into the middle school. I'm not upset about it. I went to my home middle school and I made a bunch of friends that are still my friends today. And the same for high school. When I was going from middle school to high school, I found this really cool arts high school that had a haunted house every year, and I went to the haunted house and decided then that that's where I wanted to go to high school. Despite the fact that all of my friends were like, there's drugs there, it's bad, nobody graduates. All of that was wrong. I mean, there were drugs, but it's high school. There were drugs at every single school that my friends went to. Between middle and high school, I was ready to go to this art school without any of my friends. I did have 3 friends that went with me, and one of them is still to this day one of my best friends ever. Even though I didn't go to that high school by myself, I was prepared to do it. And the same thing for college. I think I may be one of the only people from my county to have ever gone to this school. Nobody had ever heard of this school, and I was the only one from my high school going. I had to make a new life for myself entirely because I wasn't living with my parents, I didn't know anybody, I had to go and make friends and start over almost entirely. So I don't regret ever making a decision like that. I don't ever regret being very willing to go into a new step of my life without anybody that I knew beforehand. And so for most of my life, I've exhibited what I think are pretty Hufflepuff qualities. Being a good student was a priority of mine pretty much throughout my entire life, but certainly in college when I didn't have any teachers, breathing down my back for homework. Just like any other college student, I had to learn to push myself to get out of bed in the morning, go to class, do the work. And in doing so, I think my values shifted a little bit from loyalty to a large number of people to loyalty to a smaller group of people. And then as college went on, an even smaller and smaller group of people until it was like 2 or 3 people. I just think at this point in my life, I went from being mostly a Hufflepuff to being very studious and very much about the pursuit of knowledge, the betterment of myself and the people around me through education. And I still value those things, which is one of the reasons that this YouTube channel still exists. It's because I value making my life better and making the world better through education and understanding different perspectives and the pursuit of knowledge. Pretty much that's just the bottom line now. I mean, I wouldn't have Woman Crush Wednesday if I wasn't interested in researching all of these women. All of this is being said just to basically validate myself and to validate anybody that might be going through a Harry Potter identity crisis like this or any kind of identity crisis. Sometimes you may lose yourself. Sometimes you may think one thing about yourself and then something happens and you don't know what to think. Or somebody else tells you something about yourself, you didn't even realize you were doing it or that you had the capacity to do it, and then all of a sudden you can. It's a part of life. It's a part of growing, understanding who you are and who you continue to be even as you change. I am still a proud Hufflepuff. I don't think I'll ever fully identify with Ravenclaw personally. I've always been intimidated by Ravenclaw as a house, not necessarily the people in it, but just the values that it upholds, the wit, the knowledge, being almost too smart for your own good. Those things never really applied to me or appealed to me until rather recently. And I don't think it was because I read the books. I think it was just because I had this identity crisis and had to figure something out. I'm gonna continue to be a Hufflepuff though, probably for the rest of my life. Overall message for this video, I think, is be yourself, identify the way you want to identify, don't be ashamed of where you've come from, and look forward to where you're going. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. In the comments below, let me know what your Hogwarts house is and how you identify with that house, how you identify with other houses, or how you don't identify with any of them. If you're not already subscribed to The Princess and the Scrivener, please do so down below, especially if you'd like to see more videos on Disney, intersectional feminism, pop culture critiques, Vlogmas, and more. The Scrivener will see you tomorrow.